And we're live. Monday morning podcast. Let's go, Alex Monaco. Sports gambling with Moneyline Monaco. We're off a clean sweep, baby. We're off a 5-0. NFL Week 3. Appreciate you joining me. This is just a recap episode. Next episode, which will be right after this wardrobe change. We're going to be talking Monday Night Football. We got a doubleheader breaking down both games. Commanders, Bengals, Bills, Jags. But this episode is not that episode. We do this every Monday. Might need to start doing them Sunday night. But just a betting recap. Go around the room. Air out what I saw. I'm a huge live bettor. There seems to be too much live betting options on the live betting hometown buffet board. The morning slate now, week 2 slate had 10 games, a boring afternoon. Yesterday's games, a little more balanced out. Had the Cowboys Ravens in the afternoon. Yeah, you had a little more spaced out. But as we dive in here, and I don't want to sit here and pat myself on the back too much longer than I need to, but your boy went 5-0. And we go on every Friday, ESPN New York, Bart and Hahn. Shout out the guys, Bart, Scott, Alan, Hahn. My guy Alan brings me on. We do a lunch money segment. And I had 5 picks, and they were the 5 same picks that I gave out on this Moneyline Monaco podcast, and we went 5-0. We took the Detroit Lions -3 at the Cardinals. I absolutely loved it. I said, take the money out from under the mattress. And while you're grabbing the money out from under the mattress, hammer the Dallas Cowboys to catch another L at Jerry's World. There was no way the Baltimore Ravens were going 0-3. There was no way. And those are my 2 favorite sides on the board. And I don't think we ever had a doubt. I mean, Lions, I was seeing that live line go all the way up to Cardinals +9. Cardinals in the double digits. Look, Danny Campbell was pissed off this week. Guy lost to the Bucs, who lost to the Broncos this week, has to move residences. And he goes to State Farm. I really implored you to look at the Arizona Cardinals at home. They're not good at home. Kyler Murray now improves, if that's even the word here, to 11-23-1 at home. I told you 2 smash mouth defenses, Chargers, Steelers, under 35.5. Now, I got lucky twice. Vegas is sick. We had a Steelers player, could have punched it in, fell at the 1. They kneel it, shout out Fields, hit the under. Had the under in the Browns-Giants game. That had no business hitting the under, unlike Chargers-Steelers, which was tracking the under the whole time. Singletary gets to the 1-yard line. Ohtani baseball slide, cashes under 38.5. And we rounded out the evening. I am now 3-0 against the spread, for or against the Kansas City Chiefs. I'm big on this in betting. You get the team wrong the week prior. Good luck not taking any emotions into that team the following week, whether you're betting for or against them. This is a mental, psychological battlefield of chess, not checkers sports betting. You get the team wrong the week before, it's very hard to get that team right. Like I took Rams week 2 like an imbecile. Cardinals smoked me. I went right back to State Farm, Jake's place, and smacked them around, got my money back with the Detroit Lions. But that play, Sunday night, Chiefs, and I had the number for you. They were 7-0 against the spread after victories of 1 to 4 points. Secondarily, Kirk Cousins, Kirk non-primetime, coming back to back. Sure, the refs, whatever you want to say, that's fine. That's fine. But the public was on the Chiefs. I took a couple of sharp sides this weekend. I took a couple of Joe sides. I typically trust my gambling gut. Let's go kind of down the slate here. Rams out of the sick rafters. Of course, I had the Niners in a couple of money line parlays. I had a Niners Seahawks money line, close your eyes, cupcake parlay. I thought it was cashed in half. I was eating out. I was ordering dinner. Pedal that back. The San Francisco 49ers, and I forgot which analyst said this, are just not fundamentally sound on special teams. And Moody misses that field goal, and they let the Rams go down, tie the game. This game didn't even go where it should have gone, which is at least for an opportunity for both teams, and couldn't even kick a freaking punt into a corner out of bounds. No, let's just let the Rams run the ball back, kick a game-winning field goal. Disgusting behavior. Some would call it diabolical behavior by the San Francisco 49ers, who are very far away from competing for anything right now. You lose to the Vikings and the Rams, and do you have to come home to coddled California to catch a win? We went down the Disneyland freeway to the 5 where it was a sea of red, and they still couldn't get it. Ton of questions about the Christian McCaffrey list. Trent Williams goes down as well in the second half of that game. San Francisco 49ers. This is a trap bet. The three biggest bets on the board per BetMGM, which sponsors my TV show, Better Half Hour. Check it out, MSG Networks. 5-1 across all picks with a 10-1 parlay I hit on the weekend. Check it out as well. Three biggest bets. One of them, Panthers, which was bet down. You had an opportunity, if you're reading graphs, looking at tickets, looking at splits, completely bet down. A whole point as soon as Bryce Young out, Andy Dalton in. Flat out. The reality is Andy Dalton knows how to play adult football. He's been around the block. He's exactly the perfect person you want to put in this spot. You put in an adult to come in against a Raiders team feeling themselves for no reason except for, all right, you beat the Ravens. Huge, huge reason to feel yourself. But let's be honest. You're 1-1. You're at home against the Panthers. Forget about what you did last week. Too many of these teams are either looking ahead or appreciating what they did the week before, and you as a bettor have to jump on it. Because I'm telling you, these moments week to week, now that we're 3 weeks into the season, you're starting to see a little bit of different road trips. You're seeing situational, on-the-spot moments for these teams to make calls with their quarterbacks, with their personnel. You're seeing the rust coming off the preseason, and there's spots. And I'm telling you right now, looking at these lines, what cash, what didn't, three biggest bet public teams. Raiders -6, -5.5, however you want to spice that up. Saints -2.5, -3, wherever you got that. Sucker-free Friday bet. And the Broncos Bucks, I don't blame you, but I feel bad. And I nibbled a little on Bucks live. At some point I said, oh, okay, maybe the Broncos will cover. No, the Broncos and Bo Nix went into Baker. Bo Nix was acting like Baker at Baker's Progressive Insurance house. I mean, he was dancing around that pirate ship like he was Johnny Depp. I mean, the Broncos smoked the Buccaneers. And there's something to think about, too, on all of these three underdog spots. And two of them went under. One of them went over. It's an overinflated line from the previous week. It's a letdown spot. It's a quarterback change. It's now the public lost with the Lions at home against the Bucks week 2. So I would think conventional wisdom would say, all right, Steelers looked remarkable in week 2 in Denver where they hadn't won since 1989, if I'm not mistaken. You're going to sit there and go, all right, 6.5 point line. Denver can't score. Bucks just beat the Lions. We're going to take the Bucks at home. Wrong side, wrong thinking. I don't think through 3 weeks anybody's great. Is anybody great? I mean, we're talking about The Minnesota Vikings and Sam Darnold now dropping from 50 to 1 to 25 to 1 for MVP of your league as one of the better, most buttoned up teams. I mean, are we going to not give the Vikings their flowers? The Saints started out 2-0 last year. There's spots where you could sit there and decline without question what the Saints are doing. Debunk it. It's Clint Kubiak out the gate, passing game coordinator from the Niners. They're going to eventually pendulum swing back. And they got the Falcons this week. I like the Falcons off an L in an interesting spot. Low number already as we look ahead, but we're just recapping here. And as we keep it pushing here, I think this New York Giants team, and we said it on the Bart and Hahn show on Friday, they brought real effort to Washington, and then they brought real effort to Cleveland, and they're a man in his 30s. Graham Gano, please stretch for the love of in your 30s. God. They're a good hamstring away from being 2-1. The New York Giants, who are being eviscerated by their own people. I live in New York. Giants fans hate themselves. Hate themselves. I grew up with a Giants fan dad. They hate themselves. They don't even want to feel good about this victory. They got the victory. And the Cleveland Browns look lethargic. They look like you should be betting unders every week. They look like they have no zest. I mean, they caught an immediate Cooper first touchdown up 7-0 and just went flat. I mean, absolutely flat. 8 points after the opening drive of the game. I think the Miami Dolphins should be calling everyone but Ace Ventura himself to get a detective in there to figure out what they're doing. I don't see Miami even being competitive with Skylar, who not worth spending a lot of time on. Worth shouting out that the Seattle Seahawks up there on your bingo card with the Minnesota Vikings are 3-0 as well. In a game we just got right, and a game we just knew was going to happen. And a team that hadn't started 0-2 since 2015. It was a gut check. Harbaugh, where is your dog? How deep are you willing to dig type game? It was a soft Cowboys defense to start again at Jerry's World. Now, you got to give him credit for coming back, not giving up. We told you with a hat on, with a Padres hat on, go to the Moneyline Monaco Insta, Twitter. I implored you, take the money from wherever, call whomever. The Ravens are winning this football game. Now, I said money line because I got it at -111, -112 to the -1.5 at -105. And that's sense for a guy who's, your $1,000 better, tens of thousands of dollars, cents matter. $1,000 on the game. You don't want to schwitz all day worried about a half a point. I digress. Ravens sit here -195 to make the playoffs as they get ready for a very next difficult weekend. Next couple weekends, they got the Bills, they got the Bengals. This was a could not play with their food moment. Sometimes you do have to look ahead a little bit and zig and zag and say, okay, these are spots where, Cowboys don't want to drop to 1-2 with a first place schedule. But they got the New York Giants next week, and the Giants are off a win. And so you just start looking back, and this is where you can NFL script piece yourself together. Not that it's fixed by any means. I'm just saying some of these just human nature plays here. All right, Cowboys are likely to drop a game to the Ravens, who are 0-2, who are starving for a win, knowing they're going to New York for a cupcake against the Giants, who are feeling themselves off a win against the Browns, who are feeling themselves off a win against the Jaguars. And it all makes sense, doesn't it? It makes no sense. But through 3 weeks, we are seeing dogs barking. We are saying unders hit. More unders hit again yesterday. I mean, look at some of these scores. 15-12, Eagles, Saints. Steelers beat the Chargers 20-10. Broncos, Bucks 26-7. That was under. Thursday night, Jets, Patriots 24-3. That was under. Colts, Bears 21-16. Under. I mean, I was hammering that live in the first half. I was watching that, and I watch all the games as I watch Red Zone, or as much as I can. I'm monitoring as much as I can, watching 4, 5, 6 games at once. Nobody can move the football in the first half in the Colts Bears game. And sometimes you get those live betting moments. I'll tell you where I did walk into it from a live betting perspective. I thought Tennessee Titans were maybe going to turn that around. I mean, maybe give up mayonnaise forever if you're Will Levis. Maybe give up mayonnaise forever. And what Malik Willis did at the X's place had to feel good. No small feat. LaFleur, I mean, this man has won 2 games against the AFC South on just out coaching Gus Bradley week 2, out coaching the entire Tennessee Titans staff. I mean, they did it across the board. Teams I have questions about that are supposed to be making deep playoff runs through 3 weeks. I had questions about the San Francisco 49ers. I absolutely have questions about both the Ravens and the Cowboys. How do we not? I have questions through 3 weeks about where we are with the Philadelphia Eagles. 2-1, maybe stole a game they shouldn't have in New Orleans and dropped a game they shouldn't have week 2 against the Falcons. And that's kind of Philly football karma. I still have questions about 2 very serviceable clubs here, at least in the win-loss column. Pittsburgh Steelers 3-0 and the Kansas City Chiefs 3-0 for the first time in several years. Now, Chiefs, I'm starting to get a little steam on one of these clips I threw up, that PI on Pitts or not called on 4th and goal in the end zone where the Falcons had a chance to take the lead. Look, Falcons were playing with their food at the kitchen table all game. Another mediocre Chiefs performance offensively where Travis Kelce is fed as a podcast dad with no kids. The man is F-E-D, fed. He is fed. The man looks like he is not interested in the game. And Kelce, I got him as a fantasy football tight end, and I'm Mark Andrews beside myself about it. I wish I was kidding when Andrews and Kelce, I'm hanging on for fantasy football death right now through 3 weeks. I think we don't have any great yet through 3 weeks in the NFL season. From a betting perspective, continue to look at underdogs, continue to look at live betting spots. You know, teams like the Dallas Cowboys, who are up to 17.5 live yesterday evening, if you're Pacific time afternoon, my goodness gracious. I mean, they're up to 19.5. They were 30-1 live on the money line. They were down 28-6. Some of these teams give up. Like, you can fall into it. Similar number, similar money line payout with the Broncos and the Bucks, and the books will hang it. Come take the Bucks, please, plus 12.5. They're going to come back. And they don't, and you're sick about it. So some spots like the Cowboys where you can tell they're at their place, they're looking to get back in. They are not off a win like the Bucks. They chipped and crawled and walked their way back in, and you could have really cashed both sides in a lot of ways. An NBA type game, some would call that Ravens-Cowboys game. But then you get those spots where you get stuck. Bucks, Broncos, and that was Bo Nix, clinical, surgical. I mean, I don't even know what to make right now of Denver looking that good in week 3 at a place where people are calling the Bucks another NFC South champion through 2 weeks after that Lions win. I mean, that Lions win was so big. Week 2, you had Lions fans going and harassing Dan Campbell at his house, and you had Bucks fans just seeing the light. Will come back to the pirate ship and get smacked by the winless Broncos. Welcome to the NFL. The only thing that we do not have that has not stumped us yet is Brian Flores and Kevin O'Connell's unbelievably coached Minnesota Vikings. And I dare you to name me 5 guys on their defense. They're doing it with scheme. They're doing it with teamwork. And Van Ginkel is playing out of his gourd, the modern day Clay Matthews. I mean, this Minnesota Vikings team, it's hard to even comprehend what is happening. Minnesota did not beat any chumps. They beat the Niners handily. They beat the Texans. They smoked the Texans. I mean, smoked them. We're looking at the Minnesota Vikings here to make the playoffs. They're only minus 196. I'm not even sure that the books believe in it yet. Don't have a live win total for you here, but to win the NFC North as we speak on a Monday post week 3, they're plus 195 to the Lions plus 145. That's a great number on the Lions if you do believe in Detroit down a game, getting plus money in division where they were laying juice. Also, from a divisional standpoint, you get the San Francisco 49ers at plus 110. I'll have to do a video on this. There are a lot of opportunities here across the board. AFC North Ravens under 500, the chalk to win the division. The Steelers undefeated, third on the futures board, granted before the Bengals kick off tonight, plus 260. I mean, these are fascinating futures. I think the NFL has been full of surprises. And my main takeaways are until these teams start scoring unders and points, even though we cashed a couple of favorites, are the way to go here. There are too many shaky clubs right now that if they don't have it all working, all organized, health on their side, they look like a shadow of who they are. Flat out. I mean, what are the Niners doing? You're 1-2. You lose to the Rams with 3 offensive linemen out. No Kupp, no Nacua. I mean, it's embarrassing on national television. I don't know where we are with the San Francisco 49ers. Just know nobody's won back-to-back NFC berths since the Legion of Boom. And we're out of here on a 5-0 Monday morning. We took the Chiefs, swallowed the points. The Ravens over the Cowboys. We took the Lions with conviction -3. We took 2 unders, both fortunate. One was an easy cash. We got to dive at the one. One was a fortunate cash. Giants, Browns under. We'll take it. Shout out Singletary and the Steelers and the Chargers under. Never a doubt. Really, I lean Chargers, and I shouldn't have with the Herbert ankle. And I know they got Heineke, a little bit of an improvement over Easton Stick. Still not great. Point is, we learned a lot this week. There's a lot of exciting games next week. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, review. Goes a long way. Appreciate you. 5-0 on the program. We'll see you next show, which is in a little bit. Don't forget to hug your mothers. Ta-ta, real smooth.